YouTube is like that boyfriend that you can never get rid of. So YouTube would ask you, you have an obligation when you use the platform to grant a license to YouTube. And this license, you're also granted to YouTube users. It is worldwide, it is sub-licensable, and it is transferable. And you need to be aware of what the implications of that are for the particular content that you want to put up on the platform. Now, the license you've granted will continue for a commercially reasonable period of time, even after you remove or delete the content from the service. So they may not host it on the platform anymore, but YouTube can always have a copy of content you've already put on it. YouTube in 2020. Is it still worth it to start a channel? Is it still a service that you want to use to view videos, music, stream, search? Of course, yes is the answer. And so today we're going to be reviewing the terms of service. As a content creator, I cannot believe you have not reviewed the terms of service of YouTube, and you are on the platform. Oh, you should do that. It's on the bottom left corner when you go into the app. It's terms. You click on it and it takes you into the document. There's a quick summary and there's details. You want details? Stay tuned. I'm Ibukun. Welcome to my channel. On this channel, I create content that relates to law. I create content that has movie reviews based on legal scenes in Nigerian movies. I also will be interviewing lawyers and traveling around Nigeria and around the world. So if you enjoy content like this, do subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and get in the comment section. Let's discuss. So, did you get your lawyer to review your terms of service? I'm sure you did not. You should do that right away. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your personal lawyer. So I'm right here disclaiming you. I'm giving you vital information, but then again, because I'm not your personal lawyer, you need to get advice that is suited to your peculiar case. So you've been putting content out on YouTube. Either you just started, you want to start, and are you aware of what the impact is of you doing that? Are you fully aware of what you're doing when you click agree on that terms of service? We're going to be looking at all of that in this video. Google LLC is the company that you're in an agreement with when you sign up for YouTube. This is a company that was incorporated in Delaware in the United States, and the laws that govern the company are the laws of Delaware in the United States. And so this is vital because you want to know, if I had a claim, what law would Google be liable to? The other thing to know is that Google encourages you strongly to read the terms of service. So you have an obligation and Google has some obligations. Importantly, there are 3 other documents that make up the terms of service. So you have the terms of service, which you have clicked on, and then you have the policy documents, you have the YouTube safety and copyright policy, and you have the advertising YouTube policy. These are documents you should also review. There's also community guidelines for content creators that you should comply with. So there are a lot of documents for you to review, and I want to just help you get through getting a hang and understanding what the language of this particular agreement is. You already signed it or you're about to sign it, so let's dive in. To create ease, I have created what I think will be easiest for you to understand, and so I'm going to call it obligations under this agreement. The obligations that YouTube has towards you as a user or a content creator, and the obligations that you have towards YouTube based on this particular agreement that you have agreed to or about to agree to. The first thing to know is Google or YouTube has the obligation to provide you with the terms of service, which is why it is on the app. You would find it on the bottom left once you get into the application, so you should check it out. Google has no obligation to host or serve content, and that's something that you might want to keep in mind going forward, because many changes are happening daily and there may be a time when you want to post something and you can't. There are already people who do that because, like I said, there are community guidelines, and so you cannot, for example, upload things that have nudity in it. YouTube is going to take it down. So when you see videos being taken down, usually they have violated one of the obligations, and so YouTube then has a claim or a right to take action. How is your personal data treated? So YouTube has privacy policy on how it handles your name, your age, your date of birth, your gender, and other information that you have put in when you were signing up for the service. And so they have an obligation to make sure that they comply with their privacy policy as they have stated it in the document. You should check that also. You should check that out also. Now, there is no obligation to give notice when changes are being made on the platform, and we know that changes are being made all the time. So when you're not aware of what is happening exactly, just know that you cannot go and claim against YouTube that, oh, you did not say that this was happening. Although in good faith they do give notices, but just know that under the service or under the agreement that we're reviewing, there is no obligation to give you notice of changes being made to the service or the platform as it stands. And YouTube also has an obligation to respond to copyright claims, and so that's why when videos are flagged, that's what's happening. YouTube is simply living up to its obligation to ensure that third party rights are not infringed in content being put up on its platform. So what are your obligations? I bet you didn't know that you had obligations to YouTube and to the other users of the platform. The first thing is that understand the agreement. You haven't even read it, have you? Yeah, I'm looking at you. So that's what we're doing, and I hope and I'm sure that you're going to be good to go after this video. So you also have an obligation to provide content that complies with the agreement and with the community guidelines or the law. So like I already gave examples, posting nudity, when it comes to content for children, when it comes to the use of copyrighted materials. These are things that you need to consider, and the other guidelines that are set forth in the guideline document. That's an obligation that you have, and you have noticed or you have seen or heard about YouTubers talking about my content was taken down or copyright claim was filed against me, and on YouTube 3 strikes and you're out. So be careful. You also have an obligation to comply with the agreement and the applicable laws. So ensure that in your country, when you're on YouTube, you're using it according to that country. As we know, in China, YouTube is not allowed, and so that is because the laws there do not allow for YouTube to be used, and YouTube has to comply with that. The one that I'm going to read to you just now, I did not even know. You are not allowed to manipulate metrics, so views, subscribers. So the exact wording in the agreement is, you are not allowed to cause or encourage any inaccurate measurements of genuine user engagement with the service, including by paying people or providing them with incentives to increase a video's views, likes, or dislikes, or to increase a channel's subscribers, or otherwise manipulate metrics in any manner. Be careful. I know that there are companies that are out there that this is what they sell. You want to be sure that you're complying with the agreement when you're acting on this, on the metrics of how YouTube is used and how it works. Another thing that you have an obligation to do, or rather not to do, is you can use YouTube for your personal use, watching videos, streaming content, and posting, but you should not then take a YouTube video and turn it commercial. So you cannot then go to a cinema house and have a YouTube content being broadcast there, or use it for things that are not for personal use. You may have a claim against you, so be careful to review the agreement properly. As I've already mentioned, you should not, submit content to the platform that has, third-party intellectual property or copyrighted materials, and that's something that you have an obligation not to do. 3 strikes and you are out. Be careful. This one really got me. YouTube is like that boyfriend that you can never get rid of. So YouTube would ask you have an obligation when you use the platform to grant a license to YouTube. And this license to YouTube users, it is worldwide, it is sub-licensable, and it is transferable. And you need to be aware of what the implications of that are for the particular content that you want to put up on the platform. Now, the license you've granted will continue for a commercially reasonable period of time, even after you remove or delete the content from the service. So they may not host it on the platform anymore, but YouTube can always have a copy of content you've already put on it, and so you want to be aware of that. The data is always with YouTube once you put it up, and they say that it's for a period that is commercially viable for them, and they're always entitled to having the license. Now, what rights does YouTube have? Because yes, you have more obligations than YouTube. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that. I bet. So YouTube has some rights that it chooses to have. So it can retain copies, like we talked about licensing. When you come up on the platform, you have licensed. You've granted YouTube license to the content that you're putting up. YouTube can retain copies of videos that have been deleted or removed in perpetuity. So you should note that, like I already said. Your access can be terminated for reasons that are against the agreement or any of the policies that you're supposed to have reviewed. Also, you have to indemnify YouTube, so that's a right they have. If you've posted a content that has third-party intellectual property and there's a claim against YouTube, you would be liable for it because you have to indemnify them. And by this agreement, you already have agreed to do that. So the final part of this agreement that I find very interesting and I think is very, very important is the final part of this review is the governing law. And I'm going to read it verbatim as is documented in the terms of service. It says that all claims arising out or relating to these terms or the service will be governed by California law, except California's conflict of laws rules, and will be litigated exclusively in the federal or state courts of Santa Clara County, California, USA. You and YouTube consent to personal jurisdiction in those courts. Now, there's subject matter jurisdiction and there's personal jurisdiction. And so YouTube is saying that whatever country you're in, if you choose to bring a claim against them, it has to be in the United States, in California, in Santa Clara County. And the laws that they will be subject to, that your claim will be subject to be brought under, will be the laws of California. You need to know that. You do not know if you're ever going to have a claim. I hope you never have to be in that position. Also, the limitation of legal action. So you and YouTube, in cap locks, in all caps, YouTube isn't taking chances. It says you and YouTube agree that any cause of action arising out or related to the services must commence within 1 year. The cause of action accrues, or otherwise such cause of action is permanently bad. Imagine that. You have there's a 1 year moratorium, you bring the case or you have nothing. We're at the end. I feel like this was such an interesting review. I hope you have learned something new. I strongly encourage you to review the document again if you've done so before, and to read it if you haven't at all. Thank you for watching my video. Do like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and I'll see you in my next one.